This is the Durable Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Geary. This show is going to give you the skills and tools you need to be a rock-solid man for your work, your community, and most importantly, your family. All right, what's up? Kicking off the Durable Dad Podcast, episode 45. It is a pretty dreary morning here, and it was kind of nice. I spent the morning, Brenda and I, working together in our living room. The fire was blazing, there was snowy, slushy outside, and it was just really nice. The living room was clean, no kids were home, and that just isn't the way it's been for the last 3 weeks. Feels like kind of went back to that feeling of before kids when we had very minimal things, not much stuff at all, and talk about how we have too many things for our kids and we need to clear out the toy room and all that. And it sounds lovely, but we just haven't done it. And maybe we'll do it someday. Who knows? But today's been a great day. So now I'm back in my office recording this podcast. Topic today is getting caught off guard. Those times when all of a sudden you have to deal with something that someone says that we didn't expect to come out, or we were blindsided by a certain comment, and just things that we don't really see coming. It could be a question that's thrown at you. When we get caught off guard, we usually go into that fight or flight state pretty quickly, and we can get defensive and we can lash out, say something that we might not really mean, because when we're in that fight or flight defensive mode, we're not thinking very wisely. We're not acting from our wisdom, or we freeze and we kind of feel paralyzed and maybe we don't say anything, or we think, I should have said this. It could be feedback that we get at work. We could be thinking that work's going really well and that we're crushing our work, and then we get a review and the CEO doesn't really feel the way you do. Or the opposite could happen. You think that your employees are handling the client relationships and the clients are doing well, and then all of a sudden you get caught off guard because a client calls you directly and tells you that things are screwed up and things need to be fixed. It can happen in all walks of life. Right? There's this guy I'm working with that he works from home. His wife popped into his office and said, "Hey, cleaning lady's going to be here in an hour. Do you mind straightening up a little bit before she gets here?" And she said that, and he was just triggered. Right? So we're going to talk about this today. Like, how can we become a man who's not easily caught off guard? Or when we are caught off guard, we're a leader that can recover quickly, can recover respectfully. And what I'm going to give you today are 2 ways to start thinking about this concept of getting caught off guard and responding in a measured way, the way we want to. The first one is that we don't want to expect perfect scenarios. When we're caught off guard, it's usually because we have some type of expectation that things were going to go a different way. Our expectations, I call them playbooks. Talk about it in episode number 12. The concept of a playbook is basically expectations, wishes, desires we have for people, what people should say, what we want people to do, and also just life in general, the way we want events to happen. When we hold on to a playbook and have these expectations, what's gonna end up playing out is something different. Our expectations usually aren't met. And if we're holding on to our playbooks tightly, that's when we're going to get triggered. That's when we're going to get defensive. That's when we're not going to go with the flow. For example, I have a buddy that got a Christmas present for their kids. He thought it was a pretty awesome Christmas present. He gave it to their kids. His playbook was that he was going to give this present to his kids and that his kids were going to open it and be excited, and I don't know if he thought cheer and jump up and down and give him big hugs and kisses and say, "I love you, Dad. Thank you so much." I don't know if his playbook went that far, but it was something along those lines. And his kids opened it and their reaction didn't match his playbook. right? They were happy, they said thanks, and then they moved on to the next present. There wasn't that big celebration that he was expecting. So what does he do? If he's not holding on to his playbook, he can be like, yep, that's how kids act. Some presents land, some presents don't. If he does hold on to his playbook and he's caught off guard by his kid's reaction, he might get angry at his kids for not being respectful or not being grateful, or he might feel disappointed like he messed up and he didn't buy the right gift. That's why we don't want to expect the perfect scenario. We want to understand what we think our perfect scenario is, and then we want to understand that it's probably not going to happen. And that goes for scenarios, that goes for people in our life. Marcus Aurelius has this quote that gets thrown around a lot. Say to yourself early in the morning, I shall meet today ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men. I think I've said it on the podcast before. I repeat it here because it's a reminder. Don't expect people to act the way you think they should act. Don't expect them to say what you think they should say. That's one way to get ahead of being caught off guard. Number 2, learn to care about only the important stuff. So what are the important things in your life? What do you want to give your energy to? I was doing yoga teacher training a bunch of years ago when we were living in Colorado, and I remember this scene very vividly. It was right after we had just done 3 hours of training and stretching and meditating, and incense were burning and just chillness. And we leave, and I was the last one out. And as I walk out of the studio, it's on the second floor, I'm looking down in the parking lot. This other lady that's in my class, she's like 65, and she's crossing the parking lot, and a car kind of zooms past her a little fast. And she just goes, "What the fuck?" And and she just like throws up both of her arms. And I was caught off guard. But the example I'm saying this is because she decided to give her anger energy to that car. The opposite of how that scenario could go reminds me of a totally different scene that I was in. Brendan and I were in our friend Steve's truck driving like 45 minutes in Costa Rica to this hospital because I had 104-degree fever and we were in a really remote place. And he was also like an older guy, about 65. And he's driving, and we're on this tight road going up the mountain, and there's a car behind us that just flies by, and nothing from Steve. No tension arises, no reaction. He just says, "Go for it, dude." And that's what we want more of. Like, that car had to have caught him off guard, probably jumped into a little fight or flight, but he didn't react to it. He opened it up. And that's where we want to get with the little things in life, with the trivial stuff. Rise above it so it doesn't matter, because it's not where we want to spend our energy. Like, we want to be the dad that's at home and not get mad at the little stuff, not get mad really often. When we do get mad, we want our kids to know that it's something important. And this looks different for everybody, but when kids don't pick up after themselves, or their rooms are a mess, or they say the same thing 20 times, those might not be the times to use our energy to discipline, to argue, to get mad. What's the important stuff? What are your non-negotiables? Is it honesty? Is it being disrespectful with your words? Like, are those the times that you want to get mad? Learn to care only about the important stuff. And you have to define that for yourself. But this is at work. This is in relationships. This is when we're in public. What are you giving too much energy to right now? There's this quote or a perspective. I don't know who said it, but the filter is, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't give it more than 5 minutes. We'll decide what we get worked up about. More than likely, the things that are catching us off guard aren't very important, aren't the things we want to be exuding a lot of time or energy to. And the goal around all of this is to be the kind of leader who doesn't get worked up easily, who's open, who is resilient. It's the kind of guy that it's going to take a lot to ruffle your feathers. Now, I could hear you saying, I don't want to get walked on. I don't want to just be a pushover. If a similar situation is catching you off guard on a consistent basis, don't just let it go. There's probably a boundary that needs to be set. If someone keeps interrupting you in your office and you just roll with it all the time, you might need to put your foot down and say, hey, if you want to get on my calendar, this is when you schedule time to get on my calendar. Other than that, it's like, don't bug me. I'm working. I got my things to do. Putting some boundaries in place is an awesome way to not be a pushover while avoiding being the guy that lashes out and gets angry and tries to control every situation that comes his way. All right, so we're not going to expect scenarios to work out the exact way that we think they're going to work out. We're going to decide what the important stuff is and what stuff we just need to let go of and not give our time and energy to, because people are going to say what they're going to say and people are going to do what they're going to do. And instead of flipping into that fight or flight mode and having tunnel vision and being really reactive really quickly, we can stay open. We can have a conversation. We can ask some questions. We can be reasonable and respond wisely instead of off the cuff. We don't have to agree with what people say, and we can also stay open. That's what I got for you guys today. When you get caught off guard, notice your body going into that fight or flight mode and open up, release the expectations, decide if it's important enough, and respond for that. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next time. All right, before you take off, what is your big challenge for 2026? If you haven't decided yet, check out the next Grand Canyon trip, a 16-mile hike from the top of the canyon down to the Colorado River and back up. This is the kind of challenge that's going to push you into a higher gear. You're going to train, you're going to get in better shape, and you're going to check off a bucket list experience. So if you're wanting something to train for next year, a goal that's going to pull you out of the grind, this is it. We're assembling the team right now. All the details are on the website. Training starts in January. We hike in April. Check it out.